Donald Trump hosted a meeting of his Board of Peace on Gaza's reconstruction. And as you can see, I'll play this clip. As B-roll, Trump was struggling to stay engaged throughout this very long meeting. And while, of course, we all want peace, we all want a dignified and prosperous future, which will require a lot of rebuilding for Palestinians in Gaza. Number one, do I trust Trump's leadership on that? And for it not to be some sort of cash grab for him or some funny business going on? No, but wishing the best. And number two, this Trump as the peace leader and Board of Peace meeting happening literally as we're all rapidly reading reports about Trump preparing for a full-scale war against Iran. Strange timing. And that's definitely, that news is overshadowing this event, which is what we'll talk about. I'll show you a little hot mic where you can hear a host reacting to one of the things Trump said. As always, at any event where he's speaking, he's going to be going off script and making some very awkward moments. Thank you all again for being here, whether it's live or watching back in segment form or the full show later. CNN reports U.S. military prepared to strike Iran as early as this weekend, but Trump has not yet made a final call. You also have this. Jennifer Jacobs, CBS News' senior White House reporter, dropped an exclusive report on Wednesday night detailing when President Donald Trump will be fully positioned for an all-out assault on Iran. Like, this is what we're reading. This is the news that's breaking as Trump is once again creating a Board of Peace and talking about how he should get the Nobel Peace Prize as we're preparing for war. I gave you some of my more foundational thoughts on this yesterday. You can see that segment if you're curious. The U.S. has been moving a vast amount of military assets into the Middle East as talks between Iran and the U.S. continue under the explicit threat of military action if no agreement on dismantling Iran's nuclear program is reached. Now, you're probably thinking two things. Number one, wait, why would this even be necessary? I thought we had an agreement on Iran's nuclear program. We did under Obama, but it was dismantled. Now Trump's trying to create a new one and failing, thus pushing us into military action, he says. That's why it's justified. And on that, you go, wait, but I thought that they already destroyed the nuclear program. Well, apparently when we said we didn't believe some of the claims from the White House on that, we were correct. Aaron Rupar says it needs to be clearly stated that it would be absolutely insane for the United States to start a war of aggression against Iran. If anyone thinks that Trump gives a rip about democracy or human rights, you are kidding yourself. It'll be another campaign of domination and plunder. So a frightening situation. I do think it calls for flashing back to this before showing you some clips from Trump's remarks.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective.
That now applies, I guess, to Trump himself. Now, this was interesting. There was a little hot mic where you could hear a CNN host gasp and respond to what Trump was saying during these remarks, where for some reason he started talking about not liking young, handsome men.
He's a great guy. They're all great. But I was very proud of it. President Pena of Paraguay is here. President, thank you very much. Young, handsome guy. It's always nice to be young and handsome. Doesn't mean we have to like you. I don't like young, handsome men.
What?
Women.
Right. President Trump is speaking to...
You heard? Who was that? That was Sarah Seidner. What?
Young, handsome men.
What?
Women.
Right. President Trump is speaking to
That's
his...
all of our reactions. What? What is this event for? Why did he go off on that tangent? Then you saw this in the B-roll. But he struggled, for all the talk of sleepy Joe Biden, struggled to stay engaged.
And the successful implementation of the second phase of the Gaza peace plan. This includes ensuring a lasting ceasefire.
That's right. There it is. And you have another example of this. I mean, he needs to stop. This event was it not in D.C.? I'm pretty sure this was in D.C. So I don't know if they can use he had a long flight excuse, but maybe I'm wrong. Here is him getting startled awake by the Applause.
دولة الكويت الثابت بدعم كل مسعى يهدف إلى رفع المعاناة عن الشعب الفلسطيني الشقيق وتحقيق الأمن والاستقرار في غزة. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you.
So while Trump may not be a peace leader, as we've now seen in a couple of cases, Venezuela, looks like Iran, he feels peaceful. He feels very peaceful, peaceful enough to take a little bit of a sleepy time. Then you have any Trump remark is him for the first time interfacing with a word or a name instead of trying to practice that word or name before he goes on stage.
President Mirziyoyev of Uzbekistan, who is where? There he is, and a friend of mine.
Great guy, Mirziyoyev. And as happens now at every Trump event, he has to plug Melania's movie.
And she's a big movie star. And I always say it's trouble because I always say there's not room in one family for two stars. I told her that. We can't have two stars in one family. So I don't know what that means, but it's not good. But it is good because we're proud of her. She did people in the United States love the First Lady, and she did the movie, and it's become the biggest selling documentary in 20 years. Can you believe? The theaters are all packed. Women especially, they go back and they see it 2 or 3 times.
So if you can find record of any person going to a Melania movie, then going again to see it once more, and then going a third time as if they're watching, like I've watched The Wolf of Wall Street a bunch of times, and if they're one of those people, or I just watched The Menu, and Michael said that he's watched it a bunch of times and notices more things every time he watches it. If anyone is doing that with the Melania documentary, you know, by the third time I realized there were all of these different subtle Easter eggs that I didn't even pick up on the first or second time. Then they must go to a clinic of some kind. They must go. I saw Elon Musk post make insane asylums great again or something like that. And there was a photo. It was him split with an insane asylum, and his face was like, and it just looked like the insane asylum was for him. But in this case, that's where you would have to go if you actually went to the theater 3 times to see.
We should have our heads examined.
The Melania documentary. Trump is using his remarks at this Board of Peace meeting to complain again about the UN escalator.
Very closely working with the United Nations. In fact, I'm going to speak to the Secretary General in a little while. He's a good man. And I've had a good relationship. Other than in my last speech, they did turn off my teleprompter. I got up there. My teleprompter didn't work. I'm sitting in front of all of you people and more. I had no teleprompter. I knew I was in trouble because I'm walking up. You know, the teleprompters are over here. I had the most beautiful speech ready. I was all set to knock them dead. First, I had an escalator that stopped. You know that. It's going up. Boom. It's lucky my movie star First Lady was in front of me because I put my hand on a certain part of her body, and I was able to stop my fall. Otherwise, because she had no trouble. I said, boy, that was a very sharp stop, Johnny.
So now he's just making stuff up. Could we pull up that clip, please? Because that is exactly not what happened. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I do not remember him putting his hand on a certain part of her body, which, by the way, would be the first time in 2 decades that he's ever done that. But let's keep listening to this while Jaden looks for the clip.
So I said, that was strange. I've been on a lot of escalators. It's never happened before. Usually it stops very slowly. This was just boom. But our First Lady was right in the proper location for me. I'm waving to people. And
all right, let's watch back this horrifically terrifying moment where Trump nearly had his life taken. Here we go. They get onto the escalator. It stops. Trump's hands stay firmly on the escalator.
President Trump Jr.
Okay, you can stop that. Isn't that weird? Like, I know that's such a small thing. Number one, I don't know why he's still complaining about that. It didn't stop that abruptly, whatever. But then you had, of course, all the right-wing media saying this was a conspiracy to hurt the First Lady and Trump because it stopped. I mean, it stopped in a pretty normal way for an escalator to stop. Maybe someone bumped the emergency button. Who knows? A technical issue. And then Trump told the story like it was a crazy feat of humanity in previous speeches, where then they bravely walked up the steps without it moving like warriors. And then he invented new aspects to the story where he fell forward and I grabbed Mel's ass and I said, keep me steady, Mel. And then you watch the video and his hands were nowhere near her body. Like, how do you just make up stuff? Okay. There's video, but whatever. And then he's still annoyed that he didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize, as literally he's about to attack Iran.
And bringing together the Board of Peace. Oh, I thought when I saw this note, I'm excited to announce that Norway, I thought they were going to say that they're giving me the Nobel Prize. Oh, this is less exciting. Oh, it says, I'm excited to announce that Norway, and I'm saying, oh, great, I'm getting the Nobel Prize, finally. Finally, they got it right. But I don't care. I don't care about Nobel Prize. I care about saving lives, just so you understand. We play and we all, do what we have to do. I only have one thing. I don't want to see people killed from parts of the world that are very far away from the United States. And if I have an ability to turn off wars, I want to use that ability because it's people, millions of people. It's like the Prime Minister said, 25 million people maybe. And that's a small number compared to what it could have been if you really think about it.
He's saying that he saved 25 million lives. We don't know how he calculates that number. What about all the lives that have been lost because of the gutting of USAID? What about the wars he started or wants to start? What about the violation of the promise of not starting any new wars? Kamala would start new wars, but I wouldn't.
Well, I was being a little bit sarcastic when I said that.
Maybe so. But that wasn't his only reference of Norway. And it's weird how he admits, so he's sleeping when he's not speaking. And then as he's reading his script, he doesn't know the names of the people he's introducing. And then he also has never even discussed what it is that he's going to be speaking about, because he goes, oh, look, it says I'm excited to announce, and I thought it was going to be the Nobel Peace Prize. You don't think they would have told you if you were getting the Nobel Peace Prize? I'm excited to announce that, oh, dang it. Guys, I'm not that excited. Why'd you put excited? This is weird.
They did and are doing. They gave me their first Peace Prize. They gave me a Peace Prize. I think
FIFA. He's talking about FIFA. Gave him the Peace Prize. Their first Peace Prize. I think it might be the last Peace Prize too.
They gave me a Peace Prize. I think they saw that I got screwed by Norway, and they said, let's give him a Peace Prize. I mean, very good. Thank you, Johnny. I appreciate it. Johnny's very smart. He's very, very smart.
So that's that. That's what Trump is doing on, once again, the world stage, while honoring himself for being the peace president, while we have reporting that as soon as this weekend, a new war could be started by him. And as Aaron Rupar put it, we're going to hear, like with Venezuela, a lot of explanations that are detached from the truth about what this is really about. And it is difficult to bring yourself to believe that Trump just has a deep-rooted belief in democracy or in human rights when he doesn't seem to want to protect those things in the country that he's actually the president of. Thank you all so much for joining us live. As always, Josh Johnston saying, yo, Sir Lukey Beaslington, tis me once again. Bobby Slack said, love you, Luke. Jaden, undisputed, clean, beautiful Cole. Love to all my fellow Beasleys. Best. Yep, trying a new name. Yeah, we have a little bit too many names. I think it's hard to consolidate around. What do you identify with? With all these names that everyone's picking. You got some people, I'm not even going to say it, but the initials are NT. News twink. Identifying with that term, you got the Beasleyites, you got the Beasleyans, you got the Beasley's Beasts, you got the Beasley's Besties, you got the Beasleyingtons, apparently. It's too many. We need to consolidate around one. Otherwise, how will we charge together into war around, under one flag? Okay, good. Moving to this. What we're going to talk about in this segment is a couple of things. The second will be the major breaking news that formerly Prince Andrew, now by just his regular name because that title was stripped, has been arrested after Epstein revelations. Now, it seems like this is about him leaking confidential information to Epstein, which was exposed in the document dumps. But zooming out for a second here, as much as I want justice with Prince Andrew or leaders abroad, it does kind of give you that icky feeling that, wait, why do we keep seeing steps toward justice and accountability elsewhere, but none of it here? Absolutely none of it here. Everyone just skipping along. But before that, Megyn Kelly, who has bent over backwards, who has twisted herself into a philosophical pretzel, who has violated every principle I know she actually has to continue defending the Trump administration, even she is fed up with Trump's Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, who got caught in the most brazen lie you can imagine.
I mean, Howard Lutnick is a billionaire, so it's like, I'm sure they outsourced virtually everything. And then he has the nerve to lie about it. It's just like, so we're on to you. You knew this was coming out. Why would you be so reckless? And where's your damn apology? You make yourself into a James Clapper. Not wittingly. This is supposed to be a more transparent administration. And what President Trump doesn't need is a liar in the position of Commerce Secretary about something as serious as your connections with Jeffrey Epstein. And it was such a bold-faced lie, Michael. Like, he not only was he in a room with him, he went to the guy's island. He started a business with him, reports CBS. I mean, about as bold as you could get.
Yeah, it's bad to lie. I agree, it's bad to lie.
So let's stop there for a second. I agree. I don't know where this guy is going. Yeah, it's bad to lie. It feels like there's a big but coming. We'll see. And before that, Megyn Kelly, I agree. Trump cannot have liars in his administration. So are you calling on Trump to resign? Because the only reason liars would be attracted to Trump is because he's the biggest of them all. And that's not like a petty remark. That's documented tens of thousands of, as you said, bold-faced lies. I thought it was bald-faced lies. Sorry, bald community. I've been really smearing you for a while. Is it bold-faced lies? And Trump's the king of that. But you just mean lying about Epstein? Trump's the king of that too. You remember how your world tried to spin the phone call Trump had with law enforcement where he said we all knew about what was going on for a very long time and Ghislaine Maxwell's really evil, what Epstein was doing was terrible. You tried to spin that as Trump trying to get justice for the victims. Well, actually exposed that for then years and years after that, he lied about not knowing anything about what Epstein was up to. So there's a lie, bold face about Epstein coming from Trump himself. So I agree Howard Lutnick should be held accountable. Do you think Trump should as well, who hired Howard Lutnick and who lied just as much?
Yeah, it's bad to lie. I agree it's bad to lie. I don't think he should have to step down for it. He didn't lie under oath. He would probably himself say it wasn't a lie. He just forgot about it. I'm not.
He forgot about going to Epstein's island. Sure.
Supporting that at all. I agree it's bad behavior, but I don't think he should. I don't think he should have to step down for what we've seen so far.
I'm not saying he should step down. He shouldn't step down.
But wait a minute, though.
He should take responsibility for his lie. Not just to anybody, but to Miranda Devine, who most of us on the right love and respect. He humiliated her, lied right to her face. And he had to have known at some level this was going to come out. And he owes her an apology, and he owes the rest of us an apology for lying to our faces. I will tell you, it's fine if he doesn't step down. I don't believe one word that comes out of his mouth from this point forward. Not one word.
Okay, so yeah. You agree with what she's saying there, right? And she's become one of the most dishonest and pitiful right-wing propagandists who clearly is just obsessed with getting an audience and not holding herself to any principles. And that's why her views have oscillated and switched and stretched so much over the last many years. So for some reason, she feels like she can prove to her audience she isn't a complete lying grifter by calling out someone in Trump's administration. But like calling out Howard is easy. Everyone gets the ick from Howard Lutnick. I mean, come on.
Respond to the Epstein situation. Is he hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but
About how to respond to the Epstein situation.
I don't know. I could ask you that question.
Ugh. Podcast listeners watching that clip again where Howard Lutnick is really forcing a laugh when Epstein comes up. Really, like literally, no one actually laughs like this. This is not a real laugh that their shoulders don't perfectly do quarter notes. Okay. Toddy. That's not a real thing that people do. That is him trying to pretend like he doesn't care. Oh, this is such a silly subject, knowing that in between his Miranda Devine interview and then after this clip later on, that at some point it was going to be exposed that he was telling a big, big lie. Now, before getting to the Prince Andrew of this all, number one, good job, Meghan. Now try Trump. Okay, so you practiced calling out a Trump administration official for lying, even specifically lying about the relationship with Epstein. Now I'm curious if you'll call Trump out for lying about his relationship with Epstein. Just a question. Before, and then the other thing before too is watch this clip. Howard Lutnick just laughs at weird times. Okay, so we saw it with Epstein. Then Trump was telling the story of, I guess, how Lutnick survived 9/11, and the whole vibe of how the story was being told, how Lutnick was responding, strange.
I mean, he literally watched the plane go into the building, go into the World Trade Center. Amazing story. That alone is an amazing story. He was delayed because his wife insisted that he finally, after years, take his child to school. So he took his child to school that one day, because normally he would have been in the building at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's that business, right? So you owe your wife a lot and your child a lot, right? But his wife insisted that he take his child to school. For 5 years he didn't do it. He was horrible. What kind of a father was he? Okay, I'll do it. And he was therefore driving down at 8:43, whatever the time was, down the West Side Highway, and he saw the plane go into the side of the building. He said, wow. And he occupied the top 3 floors of the World Trade Center, of the one building of the World Trade Center. And you know what happened there? He lost 100% of the people in that, his whole company was there.
So I don't know, something, I guess the way he thanked his family for saving his life by asking him to take the kids to school that morning was then a few years later taking them to Epstein's Island because he took his whole family. Now, again, I'm not alleging specific wrongdoing around what he was doing there, except for associating with a child sex trafficker. But I'm not even saying he knew or ultimately he did. What I am saying is that it should cause concern when someone gets caught in such an obvious lie. If you missed it, he said, I decided in 2005 I would never step foot in the same room as Epstein again. And then gross. He took a vacation to his island. Like, that is, if we watch that clip and I said, oh, I bet he went to the island for a lunch with his family and Epstein. When we originally watched the interview, you'd be like, dude, that's a little, come on. You can't just throw that around. That's just lobbing allegations. And then it actually was that most extreme version of what his lie could have been. Not the most extreme version, but a very extreme version of it. And so while we're not seeing accountability for people who associated with Epstein or lied about the relationship with him in the United States, we are seeing it elsewhere.
Unredacted email out of the Epstein files has contradicted the former Prince Andrew, who denies ever having sex with Australian woman Virginia Giuffre. UK police have now formed a national task force to try to deal with the ever-growing list of allegations related to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
He's always denied ever having sex with Virginia Giuffre. This photo of then Prince Andrew holding the teenager haunted him for years. Now a new unredacted email states it as fact. From a New York Times reporter to Jeffrey Epstein, I think the big issue is separating yourself from Andrew. In the end, he had consensual sex with VR, Virginia Roberts as she was then, and VR worked for you.
So then it looks like what this, at least as of now, is about is abusing the public office. Open investigation into allegation of misconduct in public office. Earlier this month, the police said it was looking into a claim that the former prince, while serving as UK trade envoy in 2010, had shared confidential documents with Epstein. One email in the latest U.S. release appears to show Mountbatten Windsor forwarding Epstein a report, that's Andrew, from his special advisor about the then prince's visit to Southeast Asia. So this will be, he's now been arrested for this wrongdoing in public office, and that's what's being investigated. And even King Charles is saying the law must take its course. This headline, King Charles breaks silence after arrest of brother Andrew in Epstein probe. The law must take its course. So now, can we see it here? Can we see some consequences? Or at least some more answers? Because a lot of people have been like, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of Republicans that go, I don't know, Lutnick just was a silly, goofy guy. I don't know why he acted like he so specifically remembered cutting off Epstein and then after had a 13-year-long relationship with him. Who knows? But move forward. Man, does he know nothing about tariffs. That's good. And then, Megan, if you're not going to believe him on anything else ever, could you maybe question some of the statements he's made about Trump economy? Ooh, that would be interesting as well. Now, with this news of formerly Prince Andrew and his arrest, you have this clip recirculating where he desperately tried to defend himself from allegations.
That you were at home on the 10th of March. Yeah. She was very specific about that night. She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have bath, possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time, and that was yes, I didn't sweat at the time because I had suffered what I would describe as.
I remember while I was dancing with her, I wasn't sweating. I remember whenever I had sex with her, I wasn't dancing. I mean, I wasn't sweating. I mean, that's the vibe this is giving. No, I remember specifically the moment that you're talking about. I remember I wasn't that sweaty.
An overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when I was shot at, and I simply it was almost impossible for me to sweat, and it's only because I have done a number of things in the recent past that I'm starting to be able to
do it again. I'm really happy for you that you're able to sweat again. You know, little did he know, Andrew, whatever now the name is, little did he know all he had to say in that interview is, excuse me, hang on. Did you know the Dow was at 50 thou?
Crock of shit.
Little did he know he could have just said, well, you clearly don't want to talk about the stock market, do you? Wow. Okay. Crock of shit. Now, two of the individuals who have participated in the cover-up of the Epstein documents for their boss were Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, and they decided to do a joint crossover episode where the current director of the FBI was interviewed by his former deputy director for, I'm sure, a very hard-hitting interview now that Dan Bongino is back podcasting. And you know what Bongino wanted to make sure the audience knew? That he thought they did a great job.
I think you and I did a pretty good job, but, it really isn't hard when you focus.
What a weird interview. Everyone's mad at me thinking I did a bad job, but you tell me, person I worked for, weren't we great?
I'm on the bad guys.
Well, it's not hard, Dan, as you know, as an 1811 and a former police officer, it's not hard to do the job you signed up for if you're allowed to do the job you signed up for. And President Trump and this administration backs law enforcement and gave us the resources at this FBI and gave us the autonomy in you and I in running this building to remove the red tape, to remove the unnecessary approvals, and to get 1,000 extra agents. That's what we did, Dan. We put 1,000 agents into...
We put 1,000 agents on redacting Trump's name in the Epstein files. No, that's not what he says.
...the field from Washington, D.C. We permanently removed them from the National Capital Region and sent them across to every single field office.
From every single field. I just would encourage him to drop it a little bit. It's a little bit sort of up here, kind of aggravating to let's just drop it a little down for us, so that we can hear you. Now, if you're thinking, how do I know if I should listen to this interview, how honest they are, how dishonest, will they actually be level-headed or credible in their analysis of their own job at the FBI? Well, how about we just judge the credibility of both of them by this one clip. Let's just see.
Have someone breathing down your neck every 5 minutes, micromanaging every decision you make, rather than allowing you to go work. The president, he's a spreadsheets guy. I want the homicide rate in
Okay, so now I know I don't have to listen to anything you ever say again. As Megyn Kelly put it about Howard Lutnick, I don't have to ever listen to you ever again. No. You're not going to tell me he's a spreadsheets guy. That Trump's followers don't think Trump is a spreadsheets guy. And I'm a kale guy. Yeah, so we're all just making stuff up now, huh, Dan? Can you imagine Trump? Could you get me that Google Sheets real quick? I need to examine some of the numbers. I'd love to see if Trump, I'm not even very good at spreadsheets, but I'd love to put him in front of a computer. He thinks it's impressive that his son was able to turn on a computer. And he's a spreadsheets guy. I would love to put Trump in front of a computer, open Google Sheets, and say, figure out how to make it to where whenever you plug in one number down here, it does the math for you and adjusts the top total number. And just see how it goes. We reviewed on yesterday's bonus show this hype video that was posted by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Kid Rock. I'm wondering, given that this was a HHS promo video, was this paid for with tax dollars? Because if it was, that feels wrong given what you're seeing. So they did this get active, look at us shirtless working out video. And even Fox News, who mostly just goes, wow, look at how perfect everything is that the Trump administration is doing. Even Fox News was like, this is weird. This is really, really weird. So I'll show you those clips in a second, but here was a part of the RFK Jr. Kid Rock hype video, which apparently was worth the time and resources, because in a country that indeed has a lot of health problems that we need to address, maybe seeing two guys who both might technically be fit, but both give the vibe of someone that I would not want to have the body of. I don't know why. I'd rather be really overweight than have either of their bodies for some reason. But maybe that will push. That's the nudge that Americans need to get healthy.
My name is
So it was a lot of this, and then they go into the sauna together. You can see that. People made a bunch of comments about homoeroticism. I saw a lot of like TikToks of people saying that you only would be in this setting if it were about to go down, or if one of them was about to go down, I guess is more accurately said. And I didn't really get it. I'm like, these are just two brothers, two bros getting fit in what appears to be a not very hot sauna at all. Why are neither of them sweating at all? Anyways, so there were a lot of those videos and people were making fun of it, but even Fox News was like, what?
Yeah, the worst part about it is that we didn't show when they got in the hot tub together and were drinking milk, because that just really motivated me to go do something. I don't know.
Got in the hot tub.
Listen, somebody needs to tell RFK Jr. it's okay to wear shorts. I mean, bro, don't be upset about your legs. I don't care what they look like. Take it from me. Nobody needs impressive legs. You look great with your shirt off. Throw the shorts on so we don't all go, wow, that's weird. I don't know.
My pet peeve was jeans at the beach in California. Now it might be jeans at the gym.
I don't know.
Yeah, so he's getting into a cold plunge and into the hot tub in full jeans, like full Levi's. Which, even if you're going to work out in long, if you are insecure about your legs, in like long breeches, put on sweatpants, like do something that looks a little bit fitness-wise or fitness adjacent.
At the gym.
I don't know. I mean, I'm obviously not the audience for this video, but I like the idea of people eating healthier. I think that is great. And
there wasn't any eating in this video. It was, you know what it was? It was them going, hey, maybe we use a couple HHS dollars so people can see how fit we are. Like, you can't just post a shirtless photo and be like, I'm Bobby. You got to have an excuse for it. So then they came up with an excuse for them to look like what they thought was really hot. I'm probably not the audience for this video. She said, who is? That's our question. Then you have CNN making an interesting point about now in this Maha, we're going to make America healthier again, which of course I want Americans to be healthier. And yes, we got to take on ultra processed food, encourage people to eat better, or they say real food. And then also, if you care about Americans' health, you won't attack a lot of the important steps towards a healthy life that Bobby has, like with vaccines and other things. But if we're just talking about getting active and eating better food, I'm on board. But we should take a moment to emphasize how much MAGA, or the earlier iteration of this movement, used to cry foul whenever it was Michelle Obama encouraging people to get healthier.
Promotional video for an HHS initiative. The message is get active and eat real food, but if that sounds very familiar to you, that's because it is. Here's Michelle Obama's Let's Move website from 2010. The former First Lady similarly urging children to, quote, get active and eat healthy, something Republicans, at least back then, took issue with.
Why would you want to raise your own kids when Michelle Obama will do it for you?
You're right.
And in fact, she'll do it at gunpoint. In fact, you don't really have a choice.
When I heard this, I thought, get your damn hands off my fries, lady. If I want to be a fatty and shovel French fries all day long, that is my choice.
I want the nanny state out of my life. I don't want my body commandeered. And I will tell you that the most sovereign thing you have is your soul.
Look, so hey, they're both right.
I'm happy she brought that up, because sometimes it can feel silly, but it's actually so annoying we never get to check them on those things. They pretended like Michelle Obama trying to get people healthier was a war on their choice, to eat French fries, on your own individual choice to be, as Glenn Beck put it, a quote-unquote fatty. And how they were taking away your freedom somehow to drink beer and eat wings, even if it was just guidelines or trying to put healthier food in schools or something to that effect. And now they love it, which great. But just acknowledge how ridiculous it was that you used to try to create a scandal out of everything whenever there wasn't really that many scandals. Remember that you tried to divide us so much even before there was really as much justification for this deep division. You just couldn't handle an Obama presidency, so you would literally make Suits, his meals, and his wife's interest in Americans' health a scandal when it really wasn't. Just acknowledge that about what this movement was born out of, because that's what this is. Fox News couldn't run an actual news program based on actual news stories. They had to generate an outrage machine. And that outrage machine that deranged their viewers throughout the Obama presidency is what got us Trump. That's how this movement was curated to be so extreme and, in many cases, very irrational. You have this as well from CNN.
Should we be taking health advice from someone who recently admitted to snorting cocaine off of a toilet bowl?
When he wasn't sober. When he back in the day, a billion years ago.
I'm sorry, but like I'm having trouble with that.
No, I'm 72. He looks great.
I thought it was.
Hey, so he said...
I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats.
What the hell does that have to do with him being jacked and sexy at 72, as MAGA will put it? Which, again, guys, I think you're seeing something that I'm not seeing. I get that he has abs. That's actually impressive that he is, but there's something off. There's something off, and we got to get to the bottom of it. Kid Rock, too. I don't know how. You know, Michelle Obama, honestly, telling me to be healthy makes me go, yeah, actually, I think I should. Something about Kid Rock and RFK Jr., the cocaine off of toilet seats guy, brainworm guy, makes it a little less believable. No, of course, people should get active. They should eat healthier. That's wonderful. I just don't think these videos are going to do it. This was from yesterday's bonus show. More breakdowns of the content. He's in jeans. Why is he in jeans getting in water?
shorties and the chicks with beepers, the northern lights in the southern comfort, and it don't even matter.
Where's Kid?
Yeah, a lot of people said that this is the Trump administration right now. Where's Kid? They're trying to make it like a vlog video. Where's Kid?
Where's Kid?
All the crackheads, the critics, the cynics, and all my heroes at the methadone clinics. All you bastards at the IRS for the crooked cops and the cluttered desks, for the shots of Jack and the caps of meth, half pints of love and the fists of stress, for the hookers all tricking out in Hollywood, and for my hoods of the world misunderstood. I said it's all.
That song is not good. He's singing one note. I'll be honest, my name is Kid. It's kind of hype. You're like, where's this going, baby? And then it's just him going, hey, try a different note. Hey, how about you go down 2 half steps? Go down a whole step. Whole milk. Go down. Hey, have you ever thought of the 5th note in the chord? Sing that for a change. With the same trash. So that's a side note. But this is weird. I think it's fair to say this is weird. And not doing it. I don't think this is going to change our obesity problem. Oh my gosh. I had such a problem with my weight, and then I saw that hype video of them in their private gym and their private ice bath and their private sauna and their private pool and their private pickleball court, all seemingly at one of their houses. And then I realized that I could actually be healthy. Wow, life-changing. I actually don't know what stuff like this is for. We do need to address our health problems. I don't know what this does in that. Is there a single person who sees Bobby who, for a fit person, looks so unhealthy? He looks like the least healthy fit person you've ever seen. Only the least healthy fit person you've ever seen would get into an ice bath.
I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats. I started doing heroin when I went to the top of my class. McDonald's cheeseburger.
Only the least healthy person, only the least healthy fit person you've ever seen would get into an ice bath in their full blue jeans. That's the only person. There's no normal, healthy person who gets into an ice bath with their blue jeans. Who's getting an ice bath with their... Let me put it this way. Since he said, where's Kid? That's kind of an interesting drop in that song. My name is Kid. And then it's like, do. And then the remix is Bobby goes like, it's a remix. Where's Kid? I'm such a creative. What can I say? I'm just always thinking about... if I was in a pool, public pool, which I don't like getting in after I see how many people pee. Side note, you know how many times I've been in water and looked around and someone said, y'all cool with peeing, right? Hey, y'all cool with peeing, right? Like, it would be absurd for me to say no. And I say no, and they go, too late. And then I've had conversations, you pee in pools? Yes, there's chlorine in here. Just freak. And 90% of you just, or maybe 50% of you just went, oh, I pee in pools. Well, stop it, please. But if I was in a pool, don't care, swimming all through the urine, public pool, with my kids, don't have kids, but when I have kids, and then someone took off their shirt, looked like Bobby, and got into the pool in their blue jeans, I'm calling the police. I'm calling the police. That's it. Why is he in his blue jeans in the pool? I'm calling. And as I reflect on that, I stand by it. I absolutely stand by it. If you want to get the bonus show, you saw a little sneak peek of what it looks like. You can click the join button and become a member, like Shells, who became a member. Click the join button on YouTube, and Hillary Badillery, who also clicked the join button. I appreciate that greatly. And then if you're like, but I don't know, I wish I could get a free one, you got it. Intuition Jen sent 5 gifted memberships. as she does so frequently, like a goddess is what it is. So I don't know who that video is for, if any taxpayers were spent on that. Fraud, waste. But Gutfeld liked it.
Perfect. It's totally work out. Anyway, whatever. What do you have to say?
I didn't listen to anything you said. But you know what? This raises a question. Who rubs off on who? You know what I mean?
Now, I think he's about to say, like, who influences who between RFK Jr. and Kid Rock. But it sounds like he's saying who rubs off who. I think both, Gutfeld, would be the idea. I'm sorry. You can't take... You have to rub me off without taking the blue jeans off. The blue... Kid Rock is like, my name is Kid, as he's reaching for the button. And then Trump's like, did someone say kid? And then Bobby goes, get out of the room. We're about to rub each other off. And then Kid Rock tries to unbutton Bobby's pants. And he goes, no, the jeans stay on. Okay.
Perfect. It's totally work out. Anyway, whatever. What do you have to say?
I didn't listen to anything you said. But you know what? This raises a question. Who rubs off on who? You know what I mean? It's like, let's say Harold and I were in prison. Like, who becomes more like who? So you would think, oh my God, RFK Jr.'s hanging out with Kid Rock. Oh, poor RFK Jr., he's going to end up drinking. He's going to be drinking again. He's going to be womanizing again. And then what happens? You see Kid Rock is at the gym. He's like, working out and Coldplay. It's like RFK was a bad influence on Kid Rock. Who would have seen that coming? Anyway, the real story here is...
Well, that clip ended. Who knows what the real story is? I'm curious what he was about to get to as what the real story was. Goodness. The jeans stay on. I've lost my Bobby. You have to go through the trap door. You have to. Okay, little Bobby likes going. I can't do his accent when I'm laughing. Little Bobby likes. Okay, so ready? Right, we're about to rub each other off. Get out, Trump. But someone said kid. Get out, Trump. My name is Kid. Right, that's all going on, okay? And then Kid reaches, is reaching, starts to try to get the button, and Bobby goes, the jeans stay on. Little Bobby likes going through the trap door. No, through the dog door. Okay, that's enough. That's enough, you inappropriate perverts. Speaking of perverts, J.D. Vance.
What the hell happened to J.D.?
Also spoke at Trump's Board of Peace event while he's preparing to go to war with Iran. Weird contradiction. And he got up there and tried to do a little bit of a hot 10 minutes with J.D., okay? His good little open mic set. And it didn't go over very well. Literally no one laughed, including that leader of that country that Trump introduced named Wizurlah, as Trump articulated it. Here's J.D. Vance's zing or punchline at the beginning of his stand-up bit.
Thank you, Mr. President, very much for your leadership, but also for the kind words about me personally. I knew exactly what I wanted to say, but then after the president said that I was so smart and that I didn't want to repeat our congresswoman who froze for 20 seconds over in Munich, now I'm tempted, sir, just to freeze for 20 seconds and just stare at the cameras, and maybe they'll say nice things about me like they do about Congresswoman Cortez. But I have three very brief messages.
Ow! That hurts bad. I know we don't... This is Howard Lutnick in the crowd. Ha, 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 ha. I know that I don't like JD. I guess I don't know about the guys. I hope they don't. That'd be awkward. But But I still somehow felt bad for that. Because number one, he had the joke in his mind, which is he wanted to take a shot at AOC for kind of fumbling that answer. And she didn't freeze in silence for 20 seconds. She said, for 20 seconds. There's a difference. But regardless, he wanted to take a shot at her, but he clearly didn't work it out enough in his head. And so he goes up and he's like, you know, I was going to say, I knew what I was going to say. And then Trump said I was smart and I didn't want to do what AOC did. And so then I thought that I had to get up, and now I'm tempted to freeze for 20 seconds. Then maybe if I did, people would make me seem good because they said that she seemed good. Dude. I hope I don't get up here and freeze like AOC did, is what you're trying to say. Still, I don't know if it would have gotten a laugh, but it would have been better than this. Watch one more time, then we have a lot to talk about.
Thank you, Mr. President, very much for your leadership, but also for the kind words about me personally. I knew exactly what I wanted to say, but then after the president said that I was so smart and that I didn't want to repeat our congresswoman who froze for 20 seconds over in Munich, now I'm tempted, sir, just to freeze for 20 seconds and just stare at the cameras, and maybe they'll say nice things about me like they do about Congresswoman Cortez. But I have 3 very brief messages.
Oh, I know that feeling so much, because this happens sometimes. I'll be like, and then maybe they'll say nice things about me like they do about AOC. And now that we've gotten those, kidding aside, because like sometimes the guys won't laugh at something, and you're baking into the planning of what you're saying that there's gonna be a pause, you know? So like I've totally said things before and baked in, I'll have a second to think about my next sentence because they'll laugh, and then I'll have a second, and then occasionally that we just won't be on the same page and they won't laugh and they didn't hit it right, and then it's even more embarrassing because you say the thing and then you're like little Bobby, and then you don't know where you're going next. That's totally this.
And maybe they'll say nice things about me like they do about Congresswoman Cortez. But I have 3 very brief messages.
Okay, all right. Whoa. And not as bad as this, but close.
But I'm here to tell you, don't lose hope. On a personal note, I can tell you that I am...
This is Kimberly Guilfoyle, the now ex-fiance of Donald Trump Jr. Think about that. Think about being Donald Trump Jr.'s fiance for 6 years, and then it gets broken off. Like, you never get the marriage, but just the engagement for 6 years.
As hopeful as ever. Because Americans from all walks of life have had enough of the Democrats' decline, and we are ready. We are willing, and we are able to spark a new era of American exceptionalism. You can clap for that.
Honestly, at least there was some claps starting before she said that. JD got nothing, not even a chuckle.
You can clap for that.
But it wasn't quite as cringy as Andrew Tate thinking up merch for a collab with Clav.
So we are going to mog our way out of this by launching a clothing brand, mogged by Clav. Correct. We just want to take my money, launch a clothing brand, buy a runway, get a bunch of fucking hot bitches, put them in mogged by Clav, make them all walk in a line. I stand there, Mr. Misogynist. We do this whole big fucking show. Who gives a shit how much money I spend? Blow 10M, give a fuck. Mogged. We're going to get a fragrance mogged by Clav. Here's the advert. You're walking. ASU frat leader comes up.
This is one of those maybe we give up type of moments. Maybe we give up. What did we do wrong societally that led to these two having any notoriety and wealth? There has to be something wrong with our system that the two of them, I don't know Clav's financial situation, but I'm sure he's making plenty of money, and that Andrew Tate's like $100 billionaire. There's something wrong that this is what some young men look up to. Can you imagine? Oh. Wait, not now. Wait, not now. I'm waiting for the merch to go live. Mocked by Clav. It's gonna sell out quick. Stop playing video games. Disconnect from the Wi-Fi. I need the best Wi-Fi to get mocked by Clav merch. It's about to drop. So JD Vance's little moment there wasn't quite as cringy as that. I think it was about as cringy as Link Lauren being brought on Fox News to be asked, why are so many people bisexual?
Alphabet of acronyms. Joining me now is political influencer Link Lauren. Link, really good to see you. I should say now, so we say 1 in 4 are LGBTQ+, but the primary group there is bisexual. Everybody.
Oh gosh. Sorry, wow, I'm in a tickled mood right now. I'm Will Kane, and today we are discussing the epidemic of bisexuality. We want to bring in our bisexual correspondent, Link Lauren. That is funny. Why are so many bisexuals? Because it's fun? Probably. I don't know.
He's saying they're
because then if you're a guy and you've only been dating girls, you get to hang out with hotties like Link. That's why.
Bisexual. Well, it's great to be back with you, Will. When I see all of this data and such an increase in LGBTQ identification, I don't even know what half of this stuff is. I see some kids online, they're pansexual, polysexual, non-binary. What are these things you guys are just...
I'm sure you see some of those people online, Link. I'm sure.
Making up out of thin air because you want to feel oppressed. You want to feel like you're in a minority. But I feel like so many young people in this country, they're lost, they're confused, they're devoid of purpose. And instead of filling that hole with faith, family, conservative values, an occupation, a job, something with meaning, they're glomming onto this trans cult, this gender cult, all of this ideology, Will. You make a really interesting point about it becomes a source of identity. And with that identity, you get some victimization, you get some oppression, so you get some power with that as well. And I know you pointed this out as well, though. Did you know this, Link? We've talked about it. Sex among young people is on the decline. Young people are not having sex. And
not for all of them. Mogged by Luke.
Yet they're calling themselves bisexual. I really have a hard time adding those things together. Well, maybe they have bigger fish to fry. I think young people need to put the phones down, get off of TikTok sometimes, go out to a bar, make friends, get into trouble, make mistakes. Young people used to do that back in the day. I think what happens is these kids get indoctrinated on social media with films, television. There are doctors, there are teachers pushing all of this indoctrination. So there are doctors out there telling a kid, hey, you might be born in the wrong body. There are young girls getting surgeries because they're told they have gender dysphoria, right? There really is a...
Indoctrination. Nah, I didn't ask.
Sickness, which is why I'm so grateful to President Trump, this administration, for protecting young girls, women, and children. Imagine if Kamala...
Really, Mr. Link? Link Lauren. Excuse me, Mr. Link Lauren. Who is what? I don't know. Is the course? Who is Link Lauren? Is straight, I guess. Otherwise, why would he be so upset about the gays? Or maybe it's one of those like gays real, but bisexual is not type of people. Guys, it's a spectrum, baby. So why would bisexual go up, but gay is not going up much? Well, because if you're gay, despite societal stigma, you're probably going to be more like, I need to identify as gay because that's my only option, right? Me being included in that. But then if you're bisexual and there's stigma, you're like, well, I'll just go with the one that is the straight combo. But then as the stigma lifts, there's going to be more people going, all right, you know what? I'll say I'm bisexual. I got a little interest in both. Maybe I have a preference for one or whatever. That's why that would be going up while like gay is staying about the same. It actually makes a whole lot of sense. That's the crazy part. Now, I agree people aren't having enough sex. I just don't know if Will Kane and Link Lauren doing a segment is going to get us very aroused. So that's all I'm saying is wrong spokespeople to revamp the sex. Did you find what his status was?
Harris for president right now, the insanity we would have. But yeah, the CDC, the birth rates are at an all-time low. We have to fight for Western civilization right now, but I think we're on the right track. Stop scrolling. Stop looking at porn. You're not bisexual. By the way, you pointed this out, Link, in your pre-interview. It's a lot of girls, a lot of white girls that are calling themselves bisexual and start making mistakes, according to Link Lauren. Good to see you, Link. Thanks for being here. Great to see you. I'll see you soon.
So a lot of white girls are identifying as bisexual, and that's not. I like Will going, "You're not bisexual." How do you know? You don't know that, you little goober. You don't know that. Who's this? Hey, who's this you're talking to on this screen? Put it back up, Gene. Who are we talking to? And I don't mean any. This is all from a place of love. What are we talking about here? I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious. But yeah, you know, if you don't want to venture into the bisexual waters, don't. That's the beauty of it, Will. And I agree. Actually, what you should be saying is get out there. You're saying get out there, but you're not bisexual. What if you just said get? Because I agree with the stop scrolling, go out and meet real people. Yeah. But just meet real people. And if you end up whatever, then you whatever. That's just... You can't be both restricting people's options and telling them to go out at the same time. That's not going to work. Now, I am going to show you, we're going back to JD Vance. So that was just those things were as cringy as JD Vance part of this. Now we're going to go back to JD Vance.
Together.
But surely, as vice president, you'd like to be president.
Would I? Well, look, I think...
It's so bad. He's not a real person. Ha 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 ha. Would I?
As vice president, you'd like to be president.
Would I? Well, look, I think, again, I'm going to try to do as good of a job as I can right now. So one of the things that
Usha sees this and is like, am I bisexual?
that I don't like about this question and this entire perspective is I've been in this job for all of a year. About a year and 6 months ago, I asked the American people to give me this job that I have right now. Why don't I do as good of a job as I can in this job? We'll worry about the next job sometime in the future.
Okay.
He's so unlikable. Would I? Is not how normal people laugh. Just go like this, JD. Would I? I mean, all of you just went, oh my gosh, I love him. You see? I mean, it's easy. I could do it again. Ready? Would I? Or here's another one. Wait. I forgot what I was going to say. Not would I. I was going to say something different. Ready? Okay. You want me to be? So Lauren. So obviously he's thinking about every single day being president. That's why his laugh was fake, because obviously he really does want to be, but he doesn't want to admit it. Then you have this from that interview.
So I want to just put up a poll. This shows congressional vote preference. This was at the end of January, so just a few weeks ago. Of all voters, Democratic candidate preference at 52, GOP candidate at 46. We've got a long way to go, but obviously that number would not be good for the majority.
That would not be good. I will say, as much as we love Fox News, we always think Fox News has the worst polling. Me and the president agree on that. I'm sorry.
I can show you other ones that are very similar, but since they're ours, I show ours.
But here...
There it is again. Wait, I missed.
Agree on that. I'm sorry.
I can show you other ones that are very similar, but since there are...
Okay, that's a little better, honestly. That was a little bit more human. Not quite mine, but he has a lot of room to go. I get it. But no, the polls look really bad, and he is...
regret.
You can't really deny that. I mean, we literally have seen the polls get so bad for Trump and the Republicans that Americans are now going... Can we do Kamala instead? Like, we already saw the polls saying people think Biden was a better president than Trump is now, which is like, dudes, come on. We didn't have to put ourselves in a situation where you'd have that regret voting this way. But now you have the actual person who is the candidate, and people are going, I'd vote for her, actually.
Regrets of some folks had a few. What are we talking about here? Well, let's just take a look here. Okay, choice for 2024 presidential election. The actual was Donald Trump winning by about 1.5 points. It rounds to a point. But take a look here. In a polled redo between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris in April of 2025, it was within the margin of error, right? Kamala Harris by a point. But look at where we are now, according to an NBC News SurveyMonkey poll. Kamala Harris wins in a redo, asking folks, essentially, if you could redo the 2024 election, how would you vote? She wins it by, get this, 8 points, a massive shift from what we saw back in November of 20.
So now it's even more infuriating because it's not even Biden, was he a better president, blah, blah, blah. It's the person versus the other person that we just voted on a year ago. And America now is going, we effed up, which, yes, true. Little late for that realization, but hopefully, it shows up in the midterms. The midterms. I'm going insane. The midterms. Why are we talking about the midterms? The Dow's at 50,000.
Martha. Martha, I worry about companies using artificial intelligence to surveil Americans. I worry about invasions of privacy. I worry a lot about political bias. If you go back to 2020, 2021, Google search was so biased in a left-wing direction that I think it actually changed America's political system. I don't want that to happen with artificial intelligence. So there are a lot of things we are worried about.
We have to get in power again, guys, soon. When he says he doesn't want AI to be biased, we all agree with that. But he doesn't mean it in the way we mean it. He goes, Google searches were too left-wing. What does he mean? If you Google, was the election stolen from Trump, you'll see a bunch of fact checks about how it wasn't. Or is the vaccine safe and effective for COVID? And you would see a bunch of studies about how it is safe and effective. That's what he means. They hate that search engines, even when Elon has tried to twist his to be more right-wing, still seem liberal. Do you know why? Because reality is liberal. And that's the truth bomb that many MAGAs will think. They'll think, no, he's just being biased. Later, they'll learn. I'm just telling you, you realize, you'll look around and be like, oh, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the one who's biased. Reality is what it is. All right, let me quickly thank Howadin for sending a super chat. I appreciate it greatly. Nurse Nut clicked the join button on YouTube and became a member. I hope you're not violating HIPAA. Riley McClure became a member as well. I appreciate that greatly. Intuition Jen, just amazing. Sent 5 more gifted memberships. You guys are bathing in memberships now. Josh Johnston said, wait a second, Luke, you're gay? And then unsubscribe. No. I'm just kidding. According to... No. Miss Kit Years said the LGBTQ plus community only exists because of the social construct made by humanity, not God. So technically their views on others is unfounded. True. Wait, maybe. I think, right? You're agreeing with me? Here's how I think of it. One day we're going to get to a place where there's no L, there's no G, there's no G, LGB, there's no B, there's no T, there's no Q, there's no plus, there's no I, there's no A, there's no... It's just people. That's the only label. I dream of that world.
LGBTQ 2 minutes.
Thank you. I was waiting for that one. No, truly, I feel as if eventually you just are who you are. So, smoke that over in your pipe, as a Trump supporter once said to me. This was a little whoopsie by Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, who accidentally exposed that maybe her boss has been lying about something. Shocker. But I'll show you the clip. And we'll talk about, do you remember when Trump sent out that racist depiction of the Obamas and then went, oh, whoops, that was posted by a staffer, but it was fine, but we deleted it, but it was fine, but we didn't make a mistake, but also the staffer is to blame for it. So, And their excuse, and we've seen this used before, is, oh no, he's a busy guy. He doesn't post every single repost. How could one man repost 200 times in one night? Which is our question exactly. It's his staffers doing that, and for some reason posting racist imagery. Well, that excuse just went up in flames, according to Caroline Leavitt. Let's watch.
To reap the consequences of it.
Sure. Thank you, Caroline. President Trump just said on Truth Social that it would be a big mistake for the UK to hand over control of Chagos Islands to Mauritius. But the State Department earlier this week has said that the U.S. does support that handover. So does this post now suggest that the U.S. does not, or that President Trump has changed his mind on this?
The post should be taken as the policy of the Trump administration. It's coming straight from the horse's mouth. When you see it on Truth Social, you know it's directly from President Trump. That's the beauty of this president and his transparency and relaying this administration's policies to all of you and to the rest of the world.
I think I could see in her face, she was kind of like, oh, shoot. Did I just say that? Look right here. This is this. Did I just call him President Trump? First of all. Second
President
of all,
Trump.
Did I just say that every post that comes from Truth Social is straight from the president? Arrgh. I've foiled our own plot once again and exposed that maybe they were lying. Because remember, first, Mike Nellis said Caroline Leavitt effed up and basically admitted Trump posted the racist AI meme of Barack Obama and Michelle Obama himself. So stupid. And then just remember that this was the excuse before.
To the rest of the world.
That somebody posts a staffer, post, and I knew it was all about, if you take a look at that and see the whole thing, it was a small section at the very end, but that was about fraudulent elections, which we have a lot of them. We're going to get it stopped. And I liked the beginning, I saw it and just passed it on. And I guess probably nobody reviewed the end of it, because what I saw at the beginning was really, really strong. It was about fraud.
Point is, just a little while ago, the excuse was, this is Stafford, it happens. And then she goes, oh no, everything that's posted comes directly from Trump. So, oops. And then on the racist topic, which again, people's ears turn off when you get into the, is this person a racist? And then they treat it like, well, how could you know if you can't see inside of their brain? Or they make it like, well, I don't think that person barfs every time they see a person of a different race. And it's like, okay, whatever. So I try not to get into that because most people it doesn't really land with. But I'll say like, this action was, or just explain it a different way. I don't know. People get so, it's almost like, for a lot of people, that allegation is more outrageous than being it. Like, someone doing something racist is less outrageous to them than someone being called a racist. That's just like, And again, they act like you would have to see into someone's heart to know if they are racist. Like this intrinsic label to the bone, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. But a reporter asked, Trump keeps saying that he's falsely labeled as racist. Trump did a Black History event. At the end, he went, Happy Black History Month, Happy Black History Year, Happy Black History Century, which is like, wait, what? And then he had people come up and be like, Trump is not a racist. Very weird event for a Black History Month event to be turned into the Trump's not a racist event. But a reporter asked, what's an example of him falsely being accused of that?
Where or when does the president believe he's been falsely called racist?
You're kidding, right?
No.
I will pull you.
A bunch of examples, I'm sure she's going to say. You're kidding, right, Len? What? Jaden's making silly faces over there. New poll. Twice as many Americans think Trump is racist than say he isn't amid White House protestations. That's kind of a weird word. Asked if the word racist describes Trump, 47% agreed it does versus only 24% who said it does not, with the remainder responding no opinion. And here's what's crazy. Trump's approval rating is notably higher than 24%. And so there's some percentage of the country that goes, oh yeah, who answered in this poll, yeah, he's racist, and still like him. Shoo-ee. That, But again, that debate over that term I've found to be not a productive one, but just calling out someone's actions I think is more productive. But it is interesting that 2-1 Americans go, oh yeah, he a racist. And some of them go, oh yeah, he a racist and he's my guy, according to the numbers there. Then on a different topic, you have this.
Just have a quick statistic here on energy that I found fascinating, and it's obviously true because I'm saying it up here. Red states with Republican legislatures currently enjoy lower average retail electricity prices than blue states with Democrat legislatures.
Okay, so first of all, it's hilarious for her to say this stat is correct because I'm saying it up here. Oh yeah? We're to believe things that you say just because it's up there. Reminded me of this.
And the one nice thing about this administration is you might not like us, but you're going to get our version of the truth. And what we generally would, because we're looking at the numbers, pretty accurately can define as being the truth.
Our version of the truth. But I love how she goes, well, this stat's pretty notable. And then cite some random stat about electricity prices. Okay. Who is Trump the president of? The red states or the whole country? Because we've seen household electricity prices go up significantly after he promised to cut them in half in the nation. And he is the president of the nation, right? So that's kind of his responsibility too after he promised to cut them in half and failed miserably. And secondarily, oh, you want to do red state, blue state comparison? You want to do that, Levy? You want to talk about crime numbers? You want to talk about poverty rates? You want to talk about education outcomes? You want to talk about overall economic indicators? We can go there if you'd like, comparing red states and blue states. I just don't think you'd love to. Then the Republican Party X account said, wages are climbing, costs are falling, our economy is thriving. This is the Trump effect. To which an X community note said, false. Studies show wages are down, costs are up, and the overall state of the economy is not as resilient as stated by the Trump administration. So apparently, unlike Levitt and Dr. Oz's version of the truth being something that we can trust, doesn't seem to be the case. Thank you all so much for watching today's show. I appreciate you greatly. Really quickly, MS Kitty Years, right? Miss Kit Years or Kitty Ears. Aha, figured it out. Miss Kitty, Miss Kitty Ears. There we go. Said I meant the gender construct. Sorry, limited characters and super chats. I'm a white bi woman, so those bigots can eat my shorts. Love, not hate. Agreed. I agree. I fully agree. Sorry that it took me so long to get the name. There is something, I don't know if it's like me being a bad reader, but because the ats don't have any spaces, I never know when the letters are starting and stopping for a particular word, so it can take a little while. I apologize for that. I'm sorry. What a show. Appreciate all of you so much. Much love. Talk to you next time.